What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the correct way to go about transforming your physique. And if you failed, or if you're stuck, or if you don't know what you're doing wrong, or you can't seem to get results, this video is for you. In order to show you the correct path, I'm going to walk you through almost every single mistake that I made, and then I'm going to walk you through how I live now and the proper way that you should go about transforming your physique so that you can get results and also keep the results. Now, I am going to walk you through this entire journey based on my story and what I went through, because I've noticed that almost every single client that has came on to work with me has aligned with this path here on the left. So this path highlighted in red, which is the one that I specifically went through myself. And I had to learn firsthand that that was not the way to go about doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and go through what not to do first, the mistakes that I made, and essentially this left-hand side of the chart here that's highlighted in red so that you can understand why these are wrong. And then after that, I'm going to walk you through the green side, which is the correct way to go about this, okay? So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here just so we can focus on this side. Now, for now, just ignore this over here. I'm obviously going to address it later. So just focus on this left-hand side of the screen. So first, initially, this was me when I began this red side of the screen, right? And I don't know if you can tell, but I was extremely insecure. Now, if you know how to read body language, you can clearly tell that I was. You can see that my hand here is hiding my double chin. I'm like putting this up to sort of block my stomach, and you can just see that it's like bulging almost out of my pants. And to be honest with you, I know in this photo, like I was drunk, which means that's why I was so confident to take my shirt off. But in a sober position, I would never have done that. I'm also at a music festival, so it's, you know, appropriate to be taking my shirt off there. But that would have never happened if I was sober, because I was very insecure in the way that I looked. And I knew now, looking back at it, that the way that I looked made me insecure, because it was a reflection of all the times that I was weak-minded, all the times that I said I was going to do something and I didn't, and just all the times that I didn't show up, right? Yeah, we look in the mirror and we're like unhappy with the way that we look, but we could easily just not look in the mirror and be like, I don't care. But it's almost the cherry on top to knowing that you're not making the commitment to yourself, knowing that you're kind of letting yourself go. And then the minute that you see yourself in the mirror or you see a photo of yourself, it just like everything comes crashing down. Like it's the last straw, the final straw. As much as it seemed like a vanity-based goal at the time, which is what I thought it was much, much more than that, right? And I've come to learn that with clients as well. Like, obviously I learned that in my own journey, but when I talk to people on the phone and when we talk about the transformation, when we dig a little bit deeper, it's rarely ever like, oh, like I just want to be less fat. Like, yeah, that's great. A lot of people want to be less fat, but that's not going to keep anyone going in a fat loss journey or going through tough times, because at the end of the day, they could just be like, I don't give a fuck that I'm fat, right? It's much more than that. The physical appearance that you are forced to see and that other people see is, like I said, you know, the final straw. Okay, so right here, it was seeing this photo that I was like, I need to get my shit together. I was like, and like I said, I was drunk. So subconsciously, I'm doing this thing with my arm, right? I'm covering my fucking double chin. I don't want my side to be seen. So I'm like trying to hide behind my arm, but I'm too damn big to even be able to do that. And so after I saw this photo, I was like, oh fuck. First of all, I was like, why did I even take my shirt off? And second of all, I was like, I need to be better. I need to be better. That's literally, like, this photo lived rent-free in my nightmares for a few years. Again, not because of the vanity, but just because I was like, it solidified my self-doubt, and it solidified that, hey, I'm not strong. Hey, I do say I'm going to do stuff, and then I break my word to myself. Like, it just solidified all the things that I subconsciously felt about myself. So it was just not a good mental state to be in. Now, the thing that I did wrong here was that I focused so much on losing weight, which led me to believe that this was purely physical, okay? I didn't understand at the time that the physique I was unhappy with was the final straw. I thought it was just, oh, I don't like that. Okay, I'm going to eat less, and then I'm going to do all these physical things, and then all my problems will be solved. So that led me into this awful cycle of restriction. Now, I probably struggled with binge eating before I started restricting. It's just like, you don't notice these things until you pay attention. And that's when I started to notice that I drink a lot, I smoke a lot, I eat a lot. And it wasn't for the reason of being fueled. I wasn't drinking to have fun. The amount that I was doing it was clearly like a cope. Okay, it was clearly like, I don't like how I look, I don't like my body, I don't like my situation. I don't want to fix it, so I'm just going to numb it. I'm just going to distract myself. I'm just going to get so drunk that I don't care about taking my shirt off because I'm so drunk it doesn't matter. Or I'm just going to go smoke so I don't have to sit here and realize that, holy shit, I've let myself go. Or, I despise the position that I'm in, right? I didn't want to feel those things. So instead of accepting it, feeling the emotions, embracing the pain, I threw a band aid on it. I threw a band aid, and that band aid looked like binge eating, binge drinking, doing things that literally were just distractions, getting into friendships and relationships that had no purpose in my life, that didn't serve me, wasn't the person that I was going to marry, wasn't a friend that I even wanted to consider my friend, wasn't anyone I wanted to be like, but I just wanted to fill the void. And you can see at the time, I did get a little bit smaller through this restriction, but I mean, you can, I wish I don't know if you guys can see, I'll try to zoom in, but like, you can see my face. I'm just unhappy as fuck. Right. And who would be happy when you're over restricting yourself and then this is the result that you get, right? Like all this over restriction, and this is like, I'm not saying that I look bad, okay? But it's like, this is not my dream physique. Okay. And so in this cycle of restriction, it began to get harder and harder to maintain. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I did see results, okay? I got leaner. You can see here. Let me draw the arrow, sorry. I got leaner. Okay, you can see here in my face still that my eyes are like dead. I look unhappy. I got leaner, but I'm tiny. Absolutely no leg definition, no strength here. I did have some definition here. My abs are kind of starting to poke through slightly. But again, what comes right after over restriction? Overtraining, right? So I'm eating damn near nothing, which is bad. And I'm training every single day and doing like 45, 50 minutes of cardio every single day. I don't know who that is sustainable for. When I think back to it, I don't even know how the hell that I did it because I was in college, full-time college student. I was bartending to pay my rent. And I was also spending all this time in the gym. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't prioritize working out when you have bills to pay and when you are working towards, maybe you're in college or maybe you're in a career, whatever it is. This was years ago, but I'm just saying, like, just because you have those things doesn't mean you should be working out. But I'm going to argue to say that if you have those responsibilities, there's no way in hell that you should be in the gym 7 days a week and doing 50 minutes of cardio every time you step foot in the gym. That just shouldn't be happening. That's unrealistic, and you're not going to actually be able to live. And so that's exactly what happened to me. It was unrealistic. The results I got, I was happy with, right? I ended up, I don't know if I have a picture in here. I'll show you guys, but I ended up being able to see my abs for the first time, which is cool. I'd never done that before. But at what cost? Right? If it took my entire life and it was a nightmare to maintain, it's not my dream physique. Now, I heard that somewhere on Instagram, so if you know who said that, just know that that's who I'm quoting. So I was over restricting my food, trying to eat as little as possible, and then telling my body that it needed to train every single day while also working and also being a full-time college student. That led for me to have an unrealistic plan. How did I cope with said unrealistic plan? The same way that I coped with being overweight or skinny fat, whatever you guys want to call that first photo. I don't know, it's subjective. But I use the same coping mechanisms. This is me right here just smoking, trying to numb it, trying to cope because I spent all my free time either in the gym, doing homework, or working. And then this is me drinking, going out almost every single weekend. And then I don't have any photos of it, obviously, but I would binge eat as well. And it's like, you don't understand how many people binge eat that don't look like they binge eat, or how many people are struggling with these things. Like, to the naked eye, you would see me and you'd be like, oh my God, like it worked. She got leaner. Like, it's great. She's happy. But I was not happy. I was not happy. And I know I wasn't happy because of all the times that I had to cope. Like, all of this was a blur. I was smoking all the time and I was drinking all the time. Did I actually make a transformation? Yeah, I made a transformation for sure. I went from here, as you can see, to here. Looking different, visible, looking different, right? Visible abs, visibly leaner. You can see my face looks leaner, but I felt the same exact way. Yeah, I wasn't insecure in my looks and my body, but they're parallels. That's what I'm trying to insinuate with you guys here. Just because you go from one extreme up here of being lazy, doing nothing, drinking all the time, binge eating whatever you want, to having absolutely no freedom right here, having to work out all the time in your free time, always be doing cardio, tracking every calorie you eat. Like, those are the same. You may look different and you may be able to fool people on the outside that, oh, like, you've lost the weight now, good job, but it is the same. And only you will know this when you've done both, when you've been on both sides of it. Neither one of them are favorable. Yeah, you could argue that you'd probably rather be in this position than the one up there, but still, it's the same thing. You're going to feel just as empty. You're still going to feel like you need to cope. And here's the example of that. Right? And I know this was unhealthy because I was doing it way too much, right? I'm not saying that I'm against drinking. I'm not saying that I'm against smoking. I'm not against having a good time. I'm not against eating whatever you want. But only you can know when it is a problem. And I knew here that it was a problem. I had no business getting drunk every single weekend, sometimes even after work or after school or after class. I had no business smoking as much as I was, and it was a cope. It was a cope. And you know why I was still coping and why these are parallels? Because I focused only on the physical side of things, okay? I was like, oh, this is a weight loss journey. Let me look at training, nutrition. And then everyone online is like, oh, all you need to do is incline walk and then eat less, right? That's all you got to do and you lose weight. That wasn't the problem, right? I was trying to fix an issue that was much more deep rooted than the extra fat I was carrying in around my stomach or in my chin or whatever. It was much deeper than that because nobody, and I'm saying nobody because I didn't do this either, nobody asked themselves, how did I let myself get here? How did I allow this to happen? Right? And a part of my mechanism in transforming people, which again, I deducted this mechanism from my journey and having both comparisons, right? Having done this multiple times, I focus on figuring out what is your weak point up here? What is it up here that's weak, that can't handle certain things, that causes you to do a set of patterns that are most likely self-sabotaging, leading for you to be unhappy, overweight, and maybe unhappy with other things in your life, right? That is the first step. But what do most people do? Exactly what I did. Focus on the physical side. Focus on how you look in the mirror. Focus on, I'm going to eat as little as possible and I'm going to train every single day. Obviously, if you eat nothing or try to, over restrict yourself and overtrain, somewhere in the middle, you're going to get results, right? Because here, look, I got the results. I got them, but nothing changed for me. Not a single thing changed for me, okay? And so what I'm going to walk you through on this other side is the actual mechanism that I took myself through. But this is the exact model that I use on my clients as well. And it actually is able to produce results that are sustainable, that you can keep, that change you mentally and physically. Because the problem, if you're overweight, if you're unhappy with your physique, if you're skinny fat, whatever, is the mindset. It's the mindset, right? Because something had to have led you there. You did not come out of the womb overweight. So you must first start with your mentality and figuring out how you even got to the issue before you start to solve it. Think of it like this. Let's say you're having excruciating headaches, like terrible headaches to the point where you're popping Advil every chance you get. Every 3 hours, you're taking 3. Yeah, the Advil solves the problem of the headaches. But what is causing the headaches? Are you dehydrated? Is there something you need to get a CT scan, right? Is something wrong? Because that is not normal, right? If you're just sitting here popping Tylenol like I was doing here, right? Just over restricting, overtraining, you're going to get results. The headache's going to go away, but the problem is still going to be there because you're going to have to continuously be taking the Advil. What you want to figure out is what is causing the problem so you don't have to deal with the problem anymore. That's why a lot of people can't sustain the results or they can't stick to things for long enough because they keep dealing with the problem and dealing with the problem and dealing with the problem with no end in sight. They don't figure out how to deconstruct the issue. What is wrong? How can I fix this so I don't have to keep dealing with it? They just deal with it for 3 months, and then when they get tired of fighting, they're like, okay, fuck it, right? That's exactly what happened to me on the left-hand side of the screen. So now we're going to look at the path on the right, the green path, the correct way to go about this transformation so you can get results and keep these results. So as you can see here, my focus began to change from losing weight, getting skinny, getting as small as possible, to getting stronger and losing some body fat, right? Losing weight, losing fat are two different things, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But the most important thing that you want to start with is shifting your focus. This over here is rooted in insecurity. It's rooted in fear. It's rooted in all the things that you doubt within yourself and the feelings that you have towards yourself. That is what is rooted in, I want to lose weight and I want to get small and I need the scale to drop and I need everything to be perfect or else I'm going to fucking crash out. That is exactly what's going on there. Versus when you shift your mindset to, I want to get stronger, I want to lose fat, it's more positive. You can see here like the tone is different. You're building, you're not like hating yourself into a new physique, right? You're almost like saying, I want to improve my strength. And yeah, maybe I'll lose a little bit of fat along the way, but it's just much more of a positive tone. When you don't have like the insecurity in your mind and causing all this noise, you make better decisions, which will lead you to take this path. Now, the difference between these two paths are essentially, one is rooted in, I'm so insecure in myself that something has to change. So I'll eat nothing and I will do everything that I have under the sun to be able to get me where I want to be. And it was in doing that that I realized, oh, that wasn't the way. That was definitely not the way to go. And then the other side is more so, okay, this is a growth journey. I'm going to become the best version of myself. I'm going to transform. And that in turn is going to make me more confident. It's going to change how I look. It's going to make me a better person and ultimately made my life change as well. And that's again why I'm so big on the mindset thing. The reason why you got stuck where you are, whether it be overweight or skinny fat or whatever, is because you have deep rooted insecurities that you haven't figured out. So when I went about this transformation, I started looking at the way that I felt about things, whether it be like a conversation where I got upset or maybe something made me mad, something like that. I'd be like, why do you feel that way? Why is that making you upset? Anytime an emotion was sparked out of me, I kind of just got a little curious, a little inquisitive with myself, and I was like, what is that there? What are you insecure about? And coming to find out, I was insecure about a lot of things. And these things were reflected to me throughout everything in life, in school, in relationships, in friendships, in all those things. And it's really important to put yourself in situations where you are tested so you can learn these things about yourself. And I'm going to get into that more as we discuss this, but I took a different approach when it came to this and started looking at the mentality side. Why did you react that way? Why did you do those things? Because those things told me where I was weak up here, which allowed me to understand, okay, why did I have this pattern of binge eating? Why did I have this pattern of binge drinking? Why did I have this pattern of smoking way too much? Things like that, right? Because honestly, when you have those weak points in the mind, when they get triggered or, whatever, you then start to do the negative self-sabotaging patterns, which lead for you to be overweight, right? So anyone that's like, oh, like, I struggle staying on track. And then it's like, okay, so you go out every weekend and that keeps you from going on track because you're hungover or you're drunk or whatever. It's like, okay, why do you feel the need to go out every weekend? What is it that you're feeling there? What is that? What are you trying to cope from? And I'm not saying a positive, I'm hanging out with friends and having fun. Only you know when it is negative. Only you know when you are coping, because no one on the outside is going to notice unless it's really, really bad, like really bad. So once I started understanding what my mental weaknesses were, I started learning, okay, I can rewire my brain, I can train my brain, I can work on being more positive, things like that. And that in turn helped me with adherence to the gym, with adherence with nutrition. It kept me from binge eating. It kept me from getting blackout drunk and having to drink all the time and having to smoke and doing all those things. I didn't really obviously this happened over a period of time, but I didn't feel the need to reach for quick dopamine, to reach for a cope. And when I got stronger mentally is when things got easier for me in the fitness journey in and of itself. And it was not as hard, not as taxing, and it didn't take as much of my life like it did previously when I was bartending in college and spent all my time in the gym. Right. And that was ultimately why I couldn't stay consistent with it. And so when I started to realize that I needed to be training my mentality as well as obviously going to the gym, that's when I started to make exponential progress. It was just happening faster and faster and faster, and the momentum kept building. And it was like, oh my gosh, I can actually go out with my friends, still drink alcohol, still eat meals out with friends and family, and have a great time, go on vacations. And this doesn't have to consume me. I can still look and feel my very best. And that is what led for me to actually be happy, to be fulfilled, to be more peaceful, more confident, and more calm. So instead of over restriction, it then began to be redirection. A lot of people, and I mean a lot of fucking people, struggle with their relationship with food. Every single client that I've had ever has had a struggle to some degree with food, with the view food, and it usually boils down to something they're insecure about, or something that maybe they got bullied for as a kid, or something they heard from parents, friends, partners, whatever, that made them feel that way, and they never explored it. So it's just underlying right there, again, causing symptoms that you're then trying to cure with over restriction, when in reality, there is a root cause or problem that needs to be solved, or else it will keep popping up and popping up and popping up. And then eventually you'll be burnt out, frustrated, and tired trying to solve it, trying to fight the problem because you're not looking at the root cause. And so instead of restriction, we have redirection. So with the redirection, a fundamental thing that I need you to understand right now is the dream physique that you want. Maybe you want to have visible abs, you want to be able to see muscle development, you don't want to carry too much body fat. That physique is built with food. Now, the hard part with this is that alcohol, the smoking, my other two copes that I use, because I use three, right? I would binge, I would drink, I would binge on food, I would drink, and I would smoke. You could cut out alcohol and smoking until you figure out what the weaknesses are and then re-implement it back if it's not a big deal to you, if it's not a problem, or you want to live life again. That's what I did. I stopped drinking for a while, I stopped smoking completely, and I was like, okay, no more coping. I'm going to raw dog this and figure out what's going on. The hard part with food is you cannot cut that out. You can't. That's why it is so difficult, because food is not, you can't just be like, oh, I can't have anything, because there's over restriction. Then you're not going to be able to get by with that. And When you do that, you shoot yourself in the foot essentially, because while food can be the main thing contributing to you being overweight, it will also be the number one thing that builds your dream physique. So it cannot be restricted. You need to redirect yourself, your mentality to be able to use that. And that's what people are doing that most people miss. The restriction, yeah, you'll get leaner and maybe you'll see your abs, but you'll be small, you'll be skinny, you'll be frail, and you'll feel like shit. Because food contributes to physical strength, but also mental strength, your cognitive brain function, you think better, you operate better. Right? So when you understand how to control yourself and how to use food, game over. You've got it. You got it figured out right there. When it comes to redirection, you need to understand that food never did anything wrong. It was never the problem. You were always the problem, and that it's still an amazing thing that can be used to build your dream physique. And so you need to understand how you can use it to your advantage rather than running from it and being scared of it or having a poor relationship with it. And this starts with healing your relationship with food by exploring why you feel the way that you do, what your inner monologue sounds like, and why you say the things that you do, and why you make the decisions that you do regarding food. And then you need to understand your body. What is it that I need to eat? What makes me feel good? What makes me feel energized? What doesn't digest well? What makes me bloated? And just explore yourself, both from a physiological standpoint and also mental standpoint. But the main thing that I want you to understand with that is food is the greatest catalyst in your growth. And if you fear it, if you have a poor relationship from it, or if you try to over restrict it, you are not going to make it. You are not going to be able to stick to that, and it's unrealistic. Now, I know a lot of people probably just understood right there why they're stuck, because it's usually food, nutrition, your relationship with it, maybe your lack of knowledge around it, whatever it is. But that is where most people tend to get stuck, and they rely so much on the over restriction and overtraining to battle the symptoms rather than figuring out what the root cause is. Now, that'll lead me into the training part. Instead of overtraining every single day, you need to have strategic training. Be intentional with everything that you do in the gym. If I'm going to the gym 7 days a week, how effective can those workouts be if I'm doing it every single day? So instead of having to train every single day because you're making decisions out of insecurity and your brain is fueled by all of that insecurity that you're feeling, we need to be more strategic with it. We need to rest on the days that we're supposed to rest, so not only can we recover, but we can also enjoy our lives. Spend time doing the things that we enjoy outside of the gym. Spend time on vacation with friends, with family, doing those things, and still know and have the confidence and trust in ourselves that we're still on track towards our goals. But you know why people can't do that? Because they're rooted in insecurity and they don't work on training their mentality to be more confident, more assured of themselves, and just a better person in general, that they can't cope with the fact that they are going to miss training for a week. And I see it in my DMs. I'm going on vacation for a week. What am I going to do? How am I going to lose my gains? No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you are not. You're going to be okay, right? And so instead of training every day, have strategic training. Now, again, this is very heavily dependent more so on your schedule, okay? Now, if we were to go use my example for being super busy with work or with college, maybe you're super busy, you have a really busy schedule, you can get really good results from a 3 to 4 day training split where you're intentional with every movement and it's programmed effectively to make sure that you're targeting all the parts of your body that you'd like to develop. But it doesn't need to be every single day. And if you are trying to go every single day or you can't bear to have a rest day, that's cope. So we've talked about nutrition, physical, and mental training. That's going to lead me into the tailored plan. So instead of the plan being unrealistic because you're trying to do way too much to make up for the fact that maybe you're insecure, maybe you're impatient, and maybe you don't know what to do, now you have a tailored plan that's actually built around your lifestyle that doesn't make you have to fight tooth and nail to adhere to it. And in order for you to be consistent, you need to be able to still live your life. You need to be able to enjoy training, and you need to be able to enjoy other things outside of the gym and also feel like you're being productive when it comes to whatever you're doing for work or in your career. Building your plan around that allows you to exert mental and physical effort when you're in the gym, when you're doing your mental training, not because you're trying to go to the gym 7 days out of the week when you work and you have 5 kids. That is unrealistic, right? You don't want to be wasting your energy trying to keep up with something when that doesn't make a difference. You want to put your mental and physical effort into things that actually move the needle for you, because when it's wasted, you then get frustrated, and then you pair that frustration with a lack of knowledge, and that is why so many people give up. So like I said, this here is the process that you need to go through if you want to be able to get results and keep them. You need to focus on what your mental weaknesses are and the patterns that follow, and then work on building a plan that trains yourself mentally and physically, and then implementing that into your lifestyle that is tailored to your schedule so that it's not unrealistic for you, and then you can actually get results. Now, like I said, this is what I learned from my own journey, okay? This is what I went through here on the left, where I realized this did not work at all. Yeah, I might have gotten results, but it was not the way to go, and it was unsustainable. This here on the right is how I live today, and I've been living this way for years now. And this is also what I implement for some of my clients here. Now, I'm not going to use their names. We have my first client here. She came to me wanting to improve her health, and she told me about her struggles, and a lot of it was mentality based. And she mainly just wanted to improve her blood work, which we just got her panels back recently, and all of her markers are better than they were previously when we first started. So I'm really proud of her for that. She is currently still on her journey. We have my other client here who came to me really struggling with the mentality. She knew that she wanted to change her physique and it was going to be a byproduct. But I remember so vividly, she told me like she doesn't know why she gives up on herself, why she says she's going to do one thing and she can't stick to it. And what we focused on first was fixing those holes in her mindset, which is then what led her to be able to be super dialed in as soon as we got that stuff fixed. And then we have my client right here. She came to me. Now, she worked a desk job, which caused her to gain weight, and she just didn't know how to get rid of it. She didn't know what to do in the gym. And that lack of knowledge and not knowing what to do made her feel stuck. And then that kind of triggered some of the weak points in her mind, leading her to just be like, well, fuck it. I don't know what to do. I can't change my job. I can't change my schedule. So I guess I'm just stuck this way. And as you can see, we found out that she's not stuck that way. And so we just tweaked a few things so that the effort that she put into the plan actually mattered and actually moved the needle. And that kept her from feeling burnt out. And then we have another one of my clients here. She came to me feeling frustrated, not really knowing what to do, feeling overwhelmed, and having analysis paralysis around her nutrition, around her training. And she was like, I feel like I'm skinny fat, but I don't like, what am I supposed to do with myself? What am I supposed to eat? How do I escape this and get out of it? And then we got her dialed in. We figured out what was wrong with her mentality. And it was the fact that she couldn't handle the uncertainty that caused for her to be stuck and caused for her to be like, well, I mean, I don't know what the right thing to do is. So, I'm just not going to do it. And she would question herself a lot. And that questioning just ate at her and ate away at her and ate away at her. And then eventually she was just like, fuck it. Like every single day she'd be like, oh, what am I going to eat? What am I going to do? Oh, am I even doing the right thing? Like, and then that happening every day and every day and every day, like that'll cause anyone to quit, right? That's bound to frustrate people. And then lastly, we have my other client here who came to me frustrated. He didn't know where to direct his efforts and he felt a little bit burnt out because he was like, I feel like I'm doing all these things, but nothing is changing. And so the minute that we got some structure and we understood his schedule better and we started to adapt things around his lifestyle, that effort and energy was then channeled into things again that actually moved the needle. And you can see that they're all relatively similar. They mainly struggled with the mindset and handling adversity, which caused for them to not be able to see results or waste their effort and not have any assurance that they were doing the right things. And that ultimately kept them stuck. They weren't sure what to do. They didn't have any clarity and they had a lot of mental work that needed to be done, but they didn't know how to work on either. So they were just like, I don't know what to do. Now, if you resonate with my journey or any of the clients that I just mentioned, I will leave the application to my coaching in the description of this video. If you are a good fit and I have spots available, I will personally be reaching out to you. But that is everything that I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, you can comment them down below or DM me on Instagram and I'll get back to you with a voice message. I answer all of my DMs. I'll link a video over here regarding nutrition, and I'll also link a video over there regarding mindset and how to conquer yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Most importantly, don't forget to do hard shit and be confident. But most importantly, don't forget to have the courage to be uncomfortable, and also how much I love you and how much I'm rooting for you. If you're on this journey right now and you're trying to transform and be the best version of yourself, just know that I'm rooting for you.